Is there somebody who can do it? Could I just say a word before we begin? Feeling of tiredness. I'm Paul Ylvisaker, the Commissioner of Community Affairs, State of New Jersey. We have been working these past days trying to reduce tensions and avoid wherever possible outbreaks of disturbances in our communities in the state. Tonight, the citizens of the west end of the city of Plainfield, in the 3rd and 4th wards, and the mayor of the city of Plainfield, and members of the council, myself, Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, the Attorney General, the Superintendent of State Police, and a representative from the United States Commission Community Relations Services, have had two meetings. The first was held in City Hall in the council chambers, and the second was held at Plainfield Avenue and 4th Street. The purpose of these meetings were to hear openly, candidly, what the community really had to say about its conditions and its problems. We listened, exchanged views. The second purpose of these meetings were really to do what we all could mutually to avoid further disturbances which might have given harm to the citizens of this city. Now, the results of these meetings, I think, have been the renewing and beginning of what we hope is going to be a continuing and good dialogue between these diverging parts of the community. And this probably is going, we hope, to be the most important of all the results. But specifically, it was agreed at the request of the West End Community Group that the protective perimeter would be extended in certain ways which will be described.
Could you describe what you mean by extending the perimeter? Are you narrowing down
No,
your
no, just
expanding it by 6 blocks? You're pulling in perimeter more families within it. At their request.
So it's now a total of how many blocks?
I don't know exactly.
The map is here that you can read it from the map.
Did you make this move because you felt the situation was getting worse?
No, it was agreed on both sides without any difficulty at all that this made a good deal of sense. That the internal area would not be patrolled by outside police cars. Also agreed to look into the charges made that only the Negroes riding in cars would be searched, and as I say, agreed to look into some of these allegations. We've also listened both here and down in the neighborhood to a variety of complaints and grievances, and the council and the mayor will continue to listen to these grievances and act as they see fit upon them. Some of these things stated were such things as charges of police brutality, which we are not evaluating here but have listened to. The complaint that there weren't enough recreation facilities. A number of others. I just want to indicate the nature of them. It was a pretty candid exchange, as most of you could have guessed. But it was done, we thought, certainly in a pretty good spirit.
Who's going to
Let me continue.
Okay.
Another matter very strongly stated was that the operations of public housing in the community ought to be looked at. And even in the normal chain of events, this would have become partly an interest and responsibility of this new Department of Community Affairs. As you know, this last legislative session, a number of measures were introduced and passed which have put us more and more into the housing business, and we've been looking forward to working with community groups in Plainfield and other areas. Now, we've also looked into and are working hard to expedite the bailing process to get those who are accused of the lesser offenses back to their families on their own recognizance. And work on this will continue. I think that about wraps up where we are now. And I wonder if the Attorney General would care to add to any of the remarks I've made.
Well, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you fellows have here. I have not been in the community long enough to know whether they're inside agitators or outside agitators. I just know that from the tour that we made, there are some angry people from within. And the cause of the anger is not something that I can decide here at this moment. The first thing that we have got to do, first of all, is to determine whether or not we can preserve the peace. And we can only do that by taking suggestions from members of the community inside who don't...
General, did they say that they were going to set up patrols within their community? How did it work?
I don't know. It's my understanding they said that a given number, I don't recall how many, were going to circulate throughout their own area to use their own expression to tell everyone to keep it cool tonight.
General,
I didn't hear either of you fellows. Now,
in essence, then, you have agreed to the demand of the rioters?
No. You're using your own language. It's not a question of agreeing. We have surveyed the situation, and we've talked with people in the community. As a result of our talking with people in the community, it was our feeling that it would be best not to send National Guard and state police or local police patrolling through the very streets in which you had some looting and rioting the other night.
General, when both communities are doing this, none at all. I think that, as I say, it's happening at the same time in many different places.
Do you feel this was organized or just disorganized?
I don't think we're here long enough to evaluate the situation in that way.
Perimeter terminus includes about 6 more blocks and ends at Central Avenue.
And this perimeter, I think you've all seen in the maps, but to refresh your memories, may I ask you, Jack, to go over the streets?
What's the situation right now in Plainfield, in the West End, in the affected area?
As I understand the situation, it's tense inside the community, and it's within the perimeter, as explained to you by Commissioner Ylvisaker, and it's rather tense outside that particular section as well. And as a matter of fact, what we are trying to do is to relieve some of that